In today's video, we're going to be exploring GenSpark AI, the new super agent that does market research, performs complex data analysis, and even has image generation and chat capabilities like ChatGPT. Stick around till the end, and we're even going to be exploring their voice agent that makes calls on your behalf. By the way, I'm Nimish. I've been a developer and an entrepreneur for over 15 years, and this stuff is all I do all day long. Let's just do a quick walkthrough of GenSpark interface. When you log in, you are presented with this homepage kind of an area. And on the left, you'll see a lot of different options for different AI agents. This specific module right here, if you click on it, it's going to show you a list of existing chats that you might have. And you're able to toggle this left panel and hide it as well. So let's take a look at all the agents right here. If you click on all agents, you'll be presented with a menu of all the agents right here. We're not going to get into all agents in depth, but at a very high level, there are some new agents that they've introduced, and they have had some existing agents. They call it basic agents, which I really think they're underselling themselves. I think these agents are actually pretty powerful. They're not basic at all. So let's look at some of the new agents. They have something called a GenSpark Super Agent. It is exactly what it is. It's a super agent that takes in all the other agents and does fairly complicated, fairly complex tasks, as we'll get into it. I think it's really powerful, and it's a pretty good agent, super agent. That's what they call it. AI Slides is a really cool agent. This is obviously, it is what the name suggests. It is a model that you can use to produce slides. I thought that these slides are really well presented. They're not cookie cutter, cheesy slides, as we'll get into it. These slides are actually pretty professional, and they're actually really, really well done. The AI Sheets agent is a really interesting agent that produces tabular data and compiles a lot of research, and you're able to query those tabular data from within AI Sheets. Think of it as kind of like a pseudo Airtable, although it's highly capable, and there are a lot of capabilities that you could leverage. Download for me, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're able to download content when you give specific links to that agent. For example, you could download YouTube videos, TikTok videos, research papers, LinkedIn posts, and extract content. And basically, it's a download scrape agent. Deep research agent is something that I thought was really, really powerful. That's where GenSpark really, truly shines. I thought using deep research and other agents like the AI chat, products like GenSpark truly shine. Using a very simple prompt, you're able to kick off fairly complicated research tasks, and GenSpark will search the internet and compile data from a vast variety of sources and produce highly detailed research for you to review. So deep research is a pretty powerful agent that way. The Call For Me agent is very unique. It's exactly what it sounds like. Using Call For Me, you're actually able to make phone calls, and you're able to have an AI agent talk to you via a phone call, and you're able to have an actual conversation. For example, you could have an AI agent respond automatically to a restaurant reservation service, for example, or make appointments on your behalf. And we'll get into it. We'll play around with this agent a little bit more, and we'll see how it shakes out. The fact check agent is where you're able to actually give it a statement and have the agent research the internet and a lot of different sources and able to verify the facts of the statement. It's pretty interesting. And on top of that, they have all the basic standard agents for AI chat, Image Studio, which generates image off of a given prompt. Same thing with a generate video agent. You're able to give a prompt and have it generate video. And then finally, a text translation agent. Given a text between two different languages, it's going to translate from one text to another. And all these agents, what I really like about GenSpark is that they are able to combine a lot of different AI technologies like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and others and give you a combined hybrid response. Very cool. And this is something that's very unique to GenSpark, and I've not seen other tools utilize this. Let's explore Super Agent. Here, I'm giving it a prompt of a fictional AI automation agency, and we want to create a landing page for that fictional AI automation agency. So I've given a very detailed prompt here. By the way, I'm going to give you access to this entire prompt. Links in the description below. Basically, I'm defining the constraints within this application. The goal is to be hyper specific. I want to give as much detail as possible to this agent so that it is able to produce the best possible landing page for us. So when I gave that prompt, it came back and said, hey, this is going to take a little bit longer and it's going to take up some credits. Do you want me to proceed? And I said, yes, please go ahead and proceed. So it did take up some time, and let's see what result did it produce. I thought it produced a pretty nice result. And when you were previewing this result, you'll see this pop-up that this site was created by a GenSpark user. You should just click OK. I thought it took the instructions really well. It created a header. This is a single page landing page. This is a single page app. And it created a lead capture with a prominent CTA. I don't think that it produced really pixel perfect landing page. For example, if you look at these circles right here, it starts to become an oval, so kind of not really accurate, but you could always tweak it. And I thought this entire landing page overall as a first iteration off of the prompt is pretty nice. If you go back, you're able to actually also see the code, and you're able to see the entire thinking process that it employed in building this landing page. You were able to download or export the source code. Overall, I think that there are other tools that are better than GenSpark in producing landing page or just code generation in general. But I would say I'm actually pretty impressed given how well GenSpark followed the prompts and how quickly and how accurately it followed my prompts and the results that it produced. Next, we want to look at how the AI Slides agent performs. So I gave it this prompt. I asked it to create a set of professional polished slides for a sales pitch deck for an AI automation agency. This is the same fictional AI automation agency example that we've been using. And the goal here is to highlight the features and functionalities with appropriate media when necessary so that it clearly articulates the value proposition of this fictional AI automation agency. So we want to create a professional sales pitch deck. So when I gave it that prompt, it came back and it asked me for further clarification, which I thought was really cool. It asked me, give me the name of the AI automation agency, the target audience and the industry, the key services or solutions your agency offers, and any specific competitive advantages. Additionally, finally, it asked me for any branding or color style preferences for the slides. This I thought was pretty thoughtful of the agent to ask. And I gave it a pretty detailed response for each line item. I gave it the name Nexus AI as a fictional AI agency, the target audience, small to mid-sized brick and mortar local businesses, key services or solutions, workflow automation, integration, connectivity, AI enhanced automation. Again, I'm going to give you access to all of these sample prompts so that you can play around yourself within GenSpark. Link in the description. Once I gave it the detailed prompt, this is what it came up with. So I thought it came up with a pretty cool slide deck. And if you could look on the side, you could see the entire thought process. It first created a logo for the fictional AI agency. Then it created artwork using GPT image generation. You're able to preview the slides and again, take a look at the code for each slide, and you could see the thought process and thinking behind each slide. Let's open up the entire slide deck in a new window and take a look at this. It's pretty clean, and you're able to actually play the slides and go through the entire presentation. Mind you, I did not give it all of this content. I gave a high level prompt, and it took my prompt and generated these slides, right? So here you're able to see the value prop, rapid deployment, scalability, user-friendly automation, and finally a call to action. You're able to publish this on a website. You're able to also export and download this as a PDF or a PowerPoint PPTX extension file. So that's the overview of AI Slides. Again, not bad. I'm overall generally pretty impressed by how it goes about thinking about the entire task, asking follow-up questions, and then really kind of producing a detailed slide deck. Now let's play around with GenSpark's AI Sheets agent. So this is the prompt that I gave: compile a list of local brick and mortar businesses within the general LA area. And then I gave it a zip code 90210, Beverly Hills. That would be a perfect candidate for an AI automation agency. The idea here is that we want to look for businesses with manual services that we can pitch the AI automation agency business to them for improving their speed and efficiency. And in that prompt, I suggested that it could look for businesses within sources such as Yelp or Google search, local search, etc. On top of that, I gave it very clear instructions on what columns to collect, such as the business name, the website of the business, the owner name, contact information, like email addresses, phone number, and the industry in which the business is, and then the rationale. Why does this agent think that this business would be a good candidate for us to reach out? So that's the entire prompt that I gave. As you can see, it's kind of slightly high level, but that's what I've given it, just a free-form prompt. And let's see how it responded. So it started to create first an empty sheet based on the columns that I suggested. Then it started to search for local businesses within the Beverly Hills 90210 area. This looks like it just did a bunch of parallel searches within Google. It looked for restaurants and other local businesses, retail stores. So I did not tell it to search for restaurants or retail stores. It picked these industries on its own, service businesses that need automation. So that was the first search that it did. And then it says, let's first look at restaurants and retail stores in the area. So I like that it made that decision on its own. So it did a bunch of parallel searches. Let's look at this search here, Beverly Hills restaurants owner information. So then it looks for a bunch of restaurants within the area. So that was pretty good. Let me research more local businesses. Let's see what it did here. So when I see it now is going through individual restaurant websites. So that's pretty good. Then it does that for each restaurant. For example, Avra here looks at that website and gets their information. So it does that on a number of businesses, and eventually, let's look at the table that it found out. Okay, so let's look at the table here. Let me open it in a new window. So this is really cool. It did exactly what I suggested. It also got the phone number, and there is a call for me functionality, which we'll explore shortly, but that's hooked up here. So that's really cool. I'm very impressed. And let's look at the rationale here. High-end restaurant with reservation system that could benefit from AI automation. That's pretty cool. Property management. I really like this one. Property management company that could leverage AI for tenant communication. Very, very cool. Medical spa offering various treatments that could leverage AI for appointment scheduling. High-end jewelry and luxury goods retailer with inventory management needs, customer relationship that could benefit from AI automation to streamline operations and enhance customer experience. Very impressive stuff. All of this information just by one prompt. So if you're an AI agency, AI automation agency owner, and if you're looking to source lead generation for local businesses that you could pitch your business to. Just by giving one prompt in AI Sheets, you're able to collate so much information. And this is just scratching the surface. I'm not even going deeper into a lot of complex use cases that we could use AI Sheets from. So I'm overall very, very impressed with this specific use case of AI Sheets. Now let's explore some data analysis using AI Sheets agent. What I have here is that I created 4 fake campaign data for a fake e-commerce clothing company. I asked ChatGPT to produce some fake data for me. I have 4 campaign files. These are marketing campaigns for 4 different channels: email, SMS, TikTok, and a couple of other channels that I just asked it to generate for a fictitious e-commerce clothing company. By the way, I'm going to give you access to all of this data so you can play around. Link is in the description. So all I asked for it, I uploaded the 4 files and I asked, merge this data together. So when I asked for it, it first loaded each file individually, and then it started to understand the table structure. It started to see that this is a e-commerce marketing campaign data for email, SMS, Instagram, and TikTok. Email is a seasonal promotional campaign. SMS is for flash sales. Instagram is for influencer collaborations, and TikTok is for UGC campaigns. Really cool for a fictitious e-commerce clothing company. And then it gave me a high-level summary. The merged data set provides a comprehensive view of all of your marketing activities. So let's see what it looks like. Let's open it in a new tab. So you will see it has 4 tabs for 4 different Excel files that it gave: TikTok channel, Instagram channel, SMS, and email marketing channels. Each campaign has a launch date, impressions, clicks, conversions, revenue, average spend, click-through ratio, the conversion rate, WAS, which is return on average spend, who the target audience is, product promoted, and the region. So this is the sample data that it has. Once the agent had loaded everything, all I asked was analyze the data and tell me which channel gave the best performance. That's all I did. I kind of kept it slightly high level because I wanted to see how it interprets my natural language query and gives me the data. Very interesting. It loaded up Jupyter Notebook on the side and it did a bunch of data analysis. As you can see, that's very, very cool. And it's fairly comprehensive. I'm actually pretty impressed by the level of detail that it went through. Load all 4 campaigns, combine them into a single data frame. It shows all the steps. Calculate the following metrics: average impressions, CTRs, conversions, clicks. It just took my general vague guidance of best performance and it's doing its best to interpret that. And then it produced visual charts and summaries, which we will review. So it produced that. And then it gave me a high level overview of all of this data right here. It gave me this entire chart here. And then it says that SMS channel has the best overall return on spend. Very cool. Also give recommendations, prioritize SMS campaigns over others, and when to use what campaign. So yeah, that was very nice. Next prompt I gave is please produce an executive summary with visualizations. So let's see what it did. It created a web page. Let's open it into a new tab. You'll see this prompt again. And this is what it produced: marketing channel performance executive summary. How cool is that? Based on all 4 channels. It ranked SMS as the overall best channel. Overall return on spend was $30 compared to everything else. Interactive charts and graphs, CTR versus CVR, conversion comparison, multi-metric performance. This is pretty cool. And revenue versus spend efficiency. TikTok apparently gave you the highest revenue, but also cost the most. Very cool, which is what's here. SMS spend was a little less, but comparative revenue was higher. Very cool. And also gave strategic recommendations and an executive summary. So yeah, this is what AI Sheets gave. It's not just a tabular representation of data. You could actually do some decent data analysis using this tool. I like it overall. It's pretty impressive. Next, I played around with GenSpark's deep research tool. It's simply a chat interface. And this is the prompt that I gave. Research the emerging trends in AI automation agency business model. That's all I asked. And it did research on its own. It did it came up with an initial plan, and it's going to search for specific search terms. Then it did a parallel search. It looks like it did a bunch of Google searches, and it produced a summary of this entire research. Once it was done, it compiled an interactive page called Sparkpage. So if you open it in a new browser, you're able to see this dynamic web page that GenSpark produces. It's called Sparkpage, and you're able to interact with this report, ask it questions, and do further research on it. So I thought this was really cool, actually. It says industry-specific automation solutions, ethical and compliance focus, talks about challenges, recommendations for new entrants, for existing agencies. I thought this was pretty cool. So if you want to do some sort of a broad research, and if you really want to then do further research on this tool seems to be really cool. The AI chat agent is really impressive. As you can see, it gives you a list of different chat LLMs that you could use to interact with. But the best part is a mixture of agents. You could select mixture of agents, and you could also select search the web check mark here. And this is where it's going to issue the prompt to multiple different LLMs, get the results, collate those results, mull it over, think about those results, and produce its own understanding of all the results from a lot of different LLMs. And this is fantastic. I thought this was really a pretty impressive feature by GenSpark. So I gave it a very, very high-level sample prompt. I asked, does anybody actually understand how LLMs work? This is after an article that came out where the Anthropic CEO says that nobody actually understands deeply how LLMs truly actually work. So I wanted to ask GenSpark and then see if it was able to go find out some information around it. Kind of misunderstood my prompt. And, it did some research around how LLMs work. But overall, I thought this was pretty cool. As you can see, it asked ChatGPT 4.1, give me a general understanding of how LLM works. It also looked at a bunch of web resources. It asked Claude 4, Sonnet, how LLMs work, Gemini 2.5 Flash, and then it just continued with its own understanding of all the responses, and then it produced a combined result. That I thought was very impressive. On top of that, it produced a mind map. So when you click on it, it produced a high-level overview of mind map. And when you expand it, it issues another query and it expands the mind map on top of that. And it does kind of further research on it. And it produced this highly detailed mind map resource that you could dig even further and go deep into. The transformer architecture, neural network parameters, very, very cool. I thought the AI chat feature was by far the most impressive feature that GenSpark has. And best part, this feature is free. It won't cause you to use up your credits until the end of this year. So everybody should take advantage of this feature and play around with their AI chat agent. The AI image generation agent also uses a bunch of new agents that you could try out. It uses Flux, GPT image, Gemini image preview, and a whole bunch of other LLMs. But better yet, you could have it use a mix of agents, and you could actually remix it. So I gave it a prompt, generate a James Bond style character image. I actually kind of wanted to use one of the fake images in the thumbnails for this video, but I ended up not using it. But this is the prompt that I gave. Generate a James Bond style character image. Should be a close up. And it produced these images. These are actually pretty cool using Flux Dev and then Flux Pro Ultra. Fairly highly detailed images. Yeah, you could play around. I actually really liked the auto prompt where you could select the auto prompt, and this is what it came up with. It understood my request. You're looking to create several images with James Bond like character, and it generated a auto prompt for each iteration of the image. That was pretty cool. I like it. Now comes the fun part. Let's try out the Call for Me features. Call for Me agent is the feature where you could set up an agent and it could make calls on your behalf. You could call to restaurants, or you could even have an AI agent answer calls on your behalf, take appointments, schedule appointments. You're going to have to do some basic setup here. Click on the gear, and you're going to have to enter your phone number, and you can select different voice agents. For example, these are pre-voice agents. Alina is the one that I've selected.
Hello, I'm here to help you connect with any business you need. Hello, I'm ready to help you connect with any business you need.
Cool. So it's going to submit a test call, and let's see how it goes. It is setting up a test call, and I am getting the call. Hi. Yeah, tell me about your capabilities a little bit more. So you can set up this agent to interact on your behalf. I like that it said that it could make personal calls on your behalf. I saw a demo where the AI agent is kind of breaking up with someone, and that was kind of interesting. It was a fictitious call, but goes to show the capabilities of this agent. And I haven't seen any other agent kind of have a packaged product like this. So it's pretty cool. And this was fun to play around with. So my final impressions about GenSpark, I think overall the product is pretty well put together. It still needs some finishing touches here and there. I saw some UX related issues that I feel like does not make the product look and feel as polished as other products in the market. Do I think it's a perfect product? I don't think so. I think it has still definitely areas of improvement. If you want to do code generation, I think there are other tools out there that can help you generate and write better code. I think this is really good for doing some sort of research, lead generation, making calls, doing voice assisted calls and agents like that. I do think this tool over time is going to evolve and get better. But overall, I think this is a fun and interesting tool to play around with. If you've watched the video till the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be producing a lot more content in the future. So please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you.